Welcome to the Ecommerce Alley podcast, where we believe that in order to build a great life-changing business, you need passionate leadership, smart operations, and of course, powerful marketing. My name is Josh Coffey. I have been doing this for a little while, a little bit more than 11 years actually, and we've been helping businesses generate hundreds of millions in sales through our marketing frameworks and coaching and implementation. And this episode is part 2 of a 2-part series on the Ultimate 2024 Black Friday Cyber Monday Playbook. And in part 1, we covered offers and websites. So if you haven't checked that out, go check that out because we need those in play in order to do part 2 today, which is content and ads. And when I say ads, I specifically mean meta ads because that's where most spend right now and value in the e-commerce space is. You get the best bang for your buck there, especially during the holidays. And so I'm going to start with the content and then we're going to dive into the ads. But I do want to just preface and say that the ads portion is going to be covered on a high level. And so I might mention some more advanced stuff. If you don't know what I mean by that, you can go Google it. And if you don't know what it means, and maybe if you can't figure it out or you don't know what that means, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it right this moment in time, especially during a really crazy time of the year. But if you want to go deeper and you're like, hey, I want to see more about the structures and the exact settings that you're using and get the email templates and ad templates and social templates and Canva graphics and all that good stuff, then I encourage you, grab a ticket to our upcoming Best Black Friday Ever 3-hour workshop. It is happening on November 7th. It is a Thursday. If you can't make it, you will get the replay. So if you can't make it, that's okay. You'll get the replay, although live is a lot more fun because we'll have a workbook and we'll go through all the frameworks and we'll have exercises and you'll walk away with a really fleshed out plan. And so tickets are 95 buckaroos and you can see the link in the description if you want to attend it. I will say this, outside of our private coaching clients, nobody gets access to the exact training systems that we do. And so this is the first time ever we are hosting this Black Friday Cyber Monday workshop. So I'm super stoked about it. We have a lot of good stuff planned. You'll get all of our playbooks. We're going to walk through it and you're going to walk away with a great path to having your best Black Friday ever. Okay, let's recap last week. If you didn't watch it or listen to it, go watch or listen. We talked about offers and a website. Particularly, do you go single offer or multiple offers between Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Or throughout the whole time, do you split and do different offers on Black Friday and Cyber Monday or do the same one throughout? We talked about 9 offer structures, 10 offer considerations, and then we talked about how to get your average order value and conversion rate up by working on your homepage, using urgency with banners and product pages, and then your emails using countdown timers. And then we talked about building out the perfect cart. With all that said, you should have an offer ready. And once you have your offer ready, this is now what we're gonna be able to take and go create the assets for the content and the ads. Let's talk about the content. So when I say content, I'm specifically referring to email, SMS, and social media. And here's a little secret. For this, we cheat. We use the same resources on the same channels. So email, guess what? Email is the same graphics and copy that we post on social, which an SMS is the shortened version of the email that we're sending. And if you're like, hey, I don't know how to, SMS is, if I'm sending SMS, I don't know how to just translate these. Great. Go to ChatGPT, give it your email and say, hey, I need this to go out in an SMS form that is under 160 characters or however many that needs to be. And so, that's how we cheat. We're going to use the same assets for all of these. And so with that said, email, SMS, and social are all going to be the exact same. We are going to tell a congruent parallel story. Now, whether you decide to stagger the send times of things like when the email and the SMS and the social media goes out or not is entirely up to you. We just send them all at the same time. That's it. Usually if we're doing a cadence of 2 things a day, we're going to go 7 and we're going to go, or 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. as an example. And so One content unit, by the way, means one send or one post on social media. So one email or SMS sent and one post. So when I talk about content units in a moment, that's what that will mean. So strategically, here's what we're going to do. First, you have to establish what is my cadence of sending. And so the cadence is how many times am I going to post on social media each day, send the SMS and send email. My recommendation is that your minimum is 2 content units per day per channel. So email 1 and email 2, SMS 1, SMS 2, social post 1, social post 2 each day. So you're gonna do 2 a day minimum. So you have Friday, you have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So essentially, if you're doing the minimum, you'd be sending 2 of each of those out. Now, the good thing is they're all gonna tell the exact same story. It's gonna be the same creatives, the same copy. Who cares? Get out of your head. Like most people get in their heads like, well, it can't be the exact same across the board. It's like, well, mathematically, not everybody opens your emails. Mathematically, not everybody sees your posts. Less people see your posts. And mathematically, not everybody is on your email list or on your social followers are not always your email subscribers, are not always your SMS subscribers, which are usually the smallest amount. And so the first thing you have to figure out is what is your cadence. Our recommendation is that you do a minimum of 2 per day. If you have a higher volume store, larger database of customers and subscribers, and you're in a habit of sending emails very regularly, then increase that. We know people that send up to 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 emails in a single day during this period of time, which leads me to the question, what if I annoy people and they hate my guts? First, they won't because they expect it and they actually want offers. And that's the best thing that you could do as a business owner who genuinely believes in your products. Like if you believe that your products are what everybody should have or your ideal customers should have to make their lives better in some way, then it's your duty to make sure that those products are put in front of them and you make offers to them so that you can serve them and help them in that way. And so people expect it, so give them what they expect. And then the second thing is, do the math. If your average open rate, which most are 25 to 30%, let's just say 25% to make this easy math on me, and I sent 2 emails today, or I sent 8 emails, technically, they're only going to open about 2 of those. Right? It's 25% of 8. So they're not going to open everything. So it's okay. If you only sent 1 email per day, that's 4 emails. They will open 1. Mathematically, that's how it shakes out. If you have a higher open rate than 25%, then maybe it's a little bit more. And so that's why you can send more. So our recommendation is 2 content units per day per channel. So example, 2 SMS, 2 email, 2 social posts, make them the exact same thing. But when you're sending 2 per day, as far as email and SMS segments go, we recommend that you send to everybody in the morning and only the engaged in the evening. So going to everybody, like if I look at an email list or an SMS list, that means everybody that is actively subscribed, or in Klaviyo, everyone that has an active profile. Engaged are people that have an active profile and they have they've opened an email in like the last 180 days. Engaged are people that have opened an email in the last 30 days or last 14 days or whatever window, the time frame that you set for that. So these are people that are opening, people that are clicking. These are hotter people. These are warmer people. And so we will usually, if we're sending multiple per day, in the morning, we will send to our all subscribers. And then in the evening, we will send to our engaged so that way we don't burn out our all subscribers, those people that are still getting used to us. And we give the engaged people emails, which they love getting because they're clearly opening and they're clearly clicking. And if you do more than that, like let's say you decide to send 3 or 4 emails per day, then you can just continue to segment however you see fit. Like something we would do is we would send at 7 a.m. We would give a cadence of 3. For accounts, we would do that. We would send a VIP at 7 a.m. that they get first dibs on everything. And then we would send it to all subscribers at 11 a.m. And then we would send it to engaged subscribers, which also, by the way, includes VIPs at 7 p.m. So we have 7, 11, 7. And so first you need to figure out your cadence and what that's going to be. And our recommendation is you do at least 2 per day or more. And as you're doing that, just a couple of tips when it comes to emails in particular, and some of the posts. we're going to, number one, use timers. So in emails, you can utilize countdown timers. And countdown timers, we talked about this in the last episode. They create urgency, and there is urgency. So let's just remind people of it. Let's just show them very clearly how many days, minutes, or days, hours, minutes, seconds are remaining before the deal expires. And so you could use countdown timers in your emails to help with that. Can't do it on SMS, and you can't really do it on social, but you could do that in emails. Another tip is to add holiday flair. People are nostalgic. People make decisions based on emotion. So lean into the holiday flair. In your emails, show multiple products. And so we love this simple layout. So from an email standpoint, my favorite and also one of the most effective layouts of an email that we see is you have the navigation at the top where you have like your logo, but then you have a couple tabs, just like would mimic the navigation on your website. And then below that, you have a featured image, and that's what's changed out with each email that you send, with a little bit of text, a little blurb that you write about that day as a reminder. Maybe you integrate a story, you use some unique selling points in there. So a little bit of text, and then a call to action to just shop the deal, and then a couple of carousels of different products. You could show your best sellers, you could show the clearance items, you could show whatever is hottest or newest, but we wanna show multiple products. And then at the bottom, I love it when we have a little banner that's designed and it shows what the free shipping threshold is. So it just helps clarify what that is even further. And that's also where we would put the countdown timer. We usually put that down in the footer. And so those are just a couple of tips as you're creating this. Leverage the urgency, use timers, flair, show multiple products. Just give people a lot of options. And when you give them options, you're gonna notice people buy crap that you didn't think they would buy, but because you put 12 products or 8 products in carousels inside the email, they ended up buying it. And you find out you end up moving stuff you didn't think you could move. If you want a little tip as far as tools for this, we've been using a tool for years that we love, and it's super cheap. It's like $12 a month. It's called Stripo. We'll include a link in the description. You can go check that out. But Stripo is a simple tool that it has hundreds of templated designs in there. And if you attend the workshop, you'll get all of our Stripo designs for the holidays, and you'll be able to just copy them into your account and rebrand them for yourself. But it's a drag and drop builder. It has better flexibility and customization and tons of templates that are way better than tools like Klaviyo or OmniSend as an example. A lot of their stock templates are not as good as Stripo. So we like to use Stripo for $12 a month because we have flexibility and it's a beautiful design tool and it has great templates and it's easy to use. And then you could just export it it literally just pushes into your Klaviyo account or pushes into your OmniSend account or ActiveCampaign or whatever that is. And so we recommend Stripo. We'll put a link in the description if you want to check that out. So that is the content side of things. Now for the fun side of things, the ads. What I want to cover here is I want to cover what products you sell or what products you put in your ads. Do you do general for the site-wide? If you're going a site-wide deal like we recommend, do you show all your products? Do you show single products? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about ads, like what the ads should actually be. We're going to talk about budgets and management of that and kill switches. We're going to talk about targeting, and then I'm going to close out with some campaign structures and just campaign considerations and things to keep in mind during the holiday season. Okay. First things first, the products for the ads. What do we sell? Well, we recommend that you go all in on one offer, Black Friday through Cyber Monday. We recommend you go all in, so 25% off store-wide, for example, is going all in on one offer, but have multiple products within your ads. And so here's an example. Let's say you did 25% off site-wide and you sell t-shirts. You could use the 25% off offer messaging for Black Friday in the ads, but focus the creatives and the copy on multiple t-shirt designs and maybe hoodies and maybe a different collection and show all of it, lots of different like a diverse set of different products. And unless you have something that's proven, then of course make sure that that's in there as well. And maybe you add in your brand new product lineup or Christmas collection that you have. And so what this looks like is you have one offer. It's still 25% off site-wide, but you focus on a particular product. And what's interesting is in doing this, we see Meta do a great job of finding people that have interest in those products. Because if you go all in on like, hey, it's site-wide, and so you just stuff a bunch of your product in a single creative, the challenge is people may not see the thing that would have resonated with them if it's in a huge bunch of them, or they may see all of it and not grab their attention, or it's just too much. And so if you have a diverse set of products selected, it's going to start to optimize, and you'll be able to trim fat kind of as you go, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And this is going to give a lot of variety to people that begin engaging with those ads. And so we recommend that you go all in on one offer, but you have multiple products that you're layering that offer on top of. And how this would look from where the ads would go is we look at one ad to one product. And there are two ways of doing that. So let's just talk about the ads for a moment. There's manual selection of these products that you're going to run ads to, or there is a curated catalog. Those are the two ways that we'll do it. So manual selection, how it's going to work is basically you're going to select multiple products or collections and then create unique ads to go to each of them. And how many you select and determine to run inside your campaign is really going to be based on budget, on the budget. But I would rather start with more and then kind of trim as you go. Because if you've advertised for any length of time, then you might know that if you inject new stuff into existing campaigns, things can get a little wonky. So it's a lot easier to kill stuff than to chase stuff. And so most people who are spending less than $1,000 a day are probably going to have 5 to 10 products. Like if you're wondering, hey Josh, how many should I have? You should have 5 to 10, and it could be products or it could be collections. It's up to you. But we want a diverse amount if you have a diverse amount that you can sell. Now, some of you might sell a one-time product. Okay, well, you may not be able to do what I'm recommending here, but you would just have multiple angles for that and maybe go to different ideal customer profiles with that single product. But when you select, if you're under $1,000 a day in ad spend, I would suggest that you have like 5 to 10 products to have some variety and let it start to shuffle around as you're running the ads. But also consider inventory constraints with this. So here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to say, hey, these 7 products never sell, so and I have like 2.5 of each one of them. I'm going to put these in a campaign, and then by the end of day Friday, they're all sold out, and then all the ads have to be shut off. We don't want to do that. So keep inventory constraints in mind and ask yourself what makes sense to push out of these 5, 10. Like if I was to take all of my chips and go all in on and just say these are the 10 products, those are the ones that I would choose. And so put some thought behind it, and then also consider inventory if that might potentially be a constraint. Now, the second way to build on the ads is to use curated catalog ads. And basically, a catalog is going to pull from your store, like Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce. It's going to pull the catalog of products that you have active on the store and then show them to people that it deems right to go to. And so what I love about this is that it's giving Meta a lot more without you having to do a lot of work. Like you don't have to go create all the images. It's going to pull the image from the product catalog. And then it's going to pull the name of the product from the catalog, and that will become the headline. So it does a lot of the leg lifting for you. And the good thing about this is that it tells Facebook, or tells Meta, essentially, hey, Meta, here's all of our product. You know people that have high degrees of expressed interest in buying these different products. And so rather than me guessing at what the top 10 that would be best, here's 45 products from our catalogs, and you show it to people. And so this gives up a lot of control, which can be good and bad based on your objective and based on what your catalog and your experience is. But I want to bring this up because we are seeing these crush it. And for the last like 6 months or so, we've really seen these crush it. So I would consider potentially adding a catalog, a curated catalog, if you have a suite of different products. If you have 3 or 4 or 5, less than 10 products, I wouldn't. But if you have more than 10, this is a great way to let Meta show those products to different people that have expressed interest in those. Now, with your ads, my recommendation is that you go high intent. So with what you're making, like the creatives and the copy, don't let there be zero room for interpretation. And what that means is show the deal, show the product, and make it so blatantly obvious that this is something that you have to click and buy. For example, if I was selling a sofa, I could do a zoomed in shot on the sofa where there's like a baby on the sofa, like holding a kitten. And you know what's going to happen? I'm going to get a lot of intrigue. I'm going to get a lot of clicks, but I'm not going to get a whole lot of intent because people just love babies and kittens. So they're going to click. Instead, I would show the sofa zoomed out, no baby, no kitten, maybe a ribbon on it and a headline that says, "The only thing comfier than this sofa is your wallet when you buy it." And then the headline could just be the name of the sofa with the offer outlined. So go high intent on it. People like to delineate between what their friends are posting and what is an ad. What they don't like to do is click and then be like, "Oh my goodness, I thought this was like a funny video or a tutorial, and now I realize I'm actually buying baking supplies, but I thought it was a tutorial on how to bake cookies." And so you want to have a great degree of clarity, which means you have to have high intent, which is why we are all in on what we're calling Addy ads. And Addy ads are pretty much image ads that look like ads and leave zero room for interpretation that they're ads. That's what it is. An Addy ad is something that usually it might have call outs on it. It might show the offer, hey, 25 or 30% off site wide. It might say buy two, get one free. It's going to be very obvious that this is an ad, and they're generally images. And the reason we see images, I believe, doing so well is, images is so quick to understand what it is. With videos, unless they know that you're selling something in the first 5 seconds, they could be clicking because they're intrigued by the content of the video, not because they know they're intrigued by the product or the solution that it's offering. And so images do really well. They get the point across really quickly. It allows you to be super high intent with them. And it also, at the same time, generally results in lower CPMs and lower costs per clicks. And so we're just seeing Addy ads do really, really well right now. We have a podcast that's releasing here in a couple of weeks on it. We highly recommend it. Next, I would make sure that you theme your ads. So as you're building your creatives, make sure you put the flair in it. If it's we're talking Black Friday, Cyber Monday here, but if you're doing Christmas, do the same exact thing. And so make sure that you add that holiday flair for it. And when you're doing ads, have a lot of them. So like if you normally have 3 to 5, go 10 to 15. But your budget is going to determine how many you have. The idea is you want variety, a diverse set of different ads to those different products with the same offer overlaid on it to see what gets the most traction. And when you're doing this, a lot's going to be determined on your budget. The bigger your budget, the more ads that you should have. But the gist is you should probably have more than you're running on an evergreen basis right now. If you're running 3 to 5 inside an Advantage Plus shopping campaign on an evergreen basis, you should have 10 to 15. And the reason we like to do this is because it's a lot easier to trim stuff than add stuff later. And when you're doing the ads, leverage emotion, talk about how much, if it's the perfect gift, talk about it being the perfect gift. If someone's gonna get a reaction to it, maybe the creative shows the reaction, or maybe you talk about how the person will feel when they open that gift. Because remember, there's first party buying happening and there's also second party buying happening. And from an ad standpoint, I cannot emphasize this enough. If you show a particular product in the ad, then drive the traffic directly to the product page for the product in the ad. If you show a collection of products in the creative, then go to the collection that is being seen in the ad. If it's a general ad about your products overall, then consider the homepage. But something that is going to confuse people is if they see, hey, I could buy this, and this has this flavor, and they click on that, and then they go to like a general collection page, and then they don't see that one, or that one is buried way lower on the page, they're going to bounce. And so we want to have great congruency, again, high intent. Add to landing page. So that covers a little bit of ad structure. Now from a budgetary standpoint, first, Everything we do for Black Friday, Cyber Monday is on top of evergreen campaigns. So we let our evergreen campaigns continue to run. The things that are optimized, the things that are already doing their business, unless they, in the last 7 to 14 days leading up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday are completely atrocious, we're going to let them ride, because once Black Friday, Cyber Monday happens, you're going to see a lift in results with those, because people are going to get there and they're going to see the deal and then they're going to buy. And so when we're determining budgets, this is on top of what we are already doing. And when we're determining this, we like to determine what we call spend tolerance. And so you determine what the tolerance you have is for Friday through that Monday. And your spend tolerance is, of course, going to be based on your results and your experience. If you've been advertising for a long while, you might have, and you know the typical results you get, and you have a lot of experience doing this, you're going to have a higher tolerance than someone who's just getting going or doesn't have any stabilized evergreen-based campaigns. And so based on your experience, based on your ad results that you're getting right now in the evergreen, determine your tolerance. How much are you going to spend from Friday through Monday? And whether that's $500 over that period of time, or $50,000 or $150,000 during that period of time, we commit to it no matter what. Because in the moment, it always feels a little scary. That first day, right out of the gates, Friday, a lot of competition, the ads are going on, they're just starting to optimize, and it's easy to start to freak out if we don't see what we want in the first 7 hours. And so when we commit this no matter what. And there are a lot of reasons for that. First of all, the optimization happens as the week goes on. Second of all, as the week goes on, other people's budgets become exhausted and they begin pulling back, and it opens up supply, so you're able to go to that supply. Third, there's delayed attribution. So you have to remember that Meta isn't perfect and tracking is off, and Meta reports it up to 48 hours later is when you can see those. That's why sometimes you're like, hey, it says I had like 10 sales today, but I only had 8. Well, it's like, it carried over some of the delayed attribution. Some of that did happen. And so, that's why we commit no matter what. We're saying, hey, this is an investment in our business to acquire customers, build a brand, warm our audiences, and so forth. And so we commit, once you determine your budget tolerance, we commit no matter what. Now, from a spend standpoint, we have daily spending and we have lifetime spending. Daily will force the spend. So if I say I want to spend, let's just say, I'm going to use easy numbers here, $4,000 over the weekend, that's $1,000 per day. I could say, $1,000 daily spend, or I could set a lifetime budget of $4,000 to start on at 12:01 a.m. on Black Friday and then end at 11:59 p.m. on Monday. And so lifetime is usually going to go a little bit slower, and then it just waits for the fat pitch, and then it really starts to crank once it sees that opportunity, for the most part. Of course, nothing's ever guaranteed in marketing. I wish life was that easy. But those are the two ways. We could spend daily, which is going to be more forced spend. We could also do lifetime. That gives it a little bit of flexibility. That what we do notice is a little bit more variance in how much Meta is spending. It might spend a little bit lighter on Friday and spend a little bit heavier later once it has greater understanding of who the targeting or who it should really target with your ads. And our recommendation is to use lifetime with a start and an end date. Lifetime budgets, we've seen them do really, really well. We recently did a test on it. We spent about $50,000 in a 14-day period of time, and we tested lifetime budgets to see what were CPM discrepancies, what were cost per click discrepancies, what were ROAS discrepancies, what were CPA discrepancies, all of those things. And I did a whole podcast on it. I forget the number, just go find it. It's maybe like 10 ago, something like that. And so for this, we do recommend lifetime budgets. And it's also really nice because it just guarantees you're going to spend that exact amount. And it's easy to think about it like that. When we're doing budgets, we want to go hot in with the full budget versus trying to manually bump throughout the weekend. So you could go in and say, well, let's spend $500 on Friday, and then $800 on Saturday, and then $1,200 on Sunday, and then $1,500 on Monday, and try to ramp it up to get to your total. But it is easier to back off of budget than lean into budget or add budget. And so it's better to spend too much and then back off then spend too little and have to try to make up for lost ground later, because there are so many variables at play that sometimes you go bump your budget and Meta just doesn't spend more because there's so much demand, or there's so much demand happening for that supply of audience that it just doesn't spend more. So we'd rather go hot right out of the gates with it. And as you're running your ads, always remember, don't overreact. Math over emotion. In the Ecommerce Alley, we say marketing is a mathematical equation, not an emotional decision. And so to help with this, we like to set kill switches to mitigate losses and remove our emotion getting involved. And so for this this 4-day promotion, there are 2 kill switches I would recommend you have. And the first kill switch is the amount you're willing to pay for the first purchase. So if your average order value on a t-shirt is $30 and you launch with 15 ads or 10 ads, if it's $30, I might say my first kill switch threshold is about $100, which is approximately 3 times the cost of a product. I might even bump it a little, but a lot of this depends on what your ad spend that you're going in with. If you're going heavier, then you might need to increase this a little bit. But the kill switch number 1 is the amount you're willing to spend on an ad to get the first purchase. So it might be 3 to 4 times product price or AOV. You kind of determine for yourself. So that's kill switch number 1. And the goal is, we know that the first purchase is the most expensive because it generally will optimize from that point forward. And so that's kill switch number 1. We want, by $100, we have to have a purchase. But then we have kill switch number 2, which is the deeper spend amount, usually 3 to 4 times kill switch number 1, that we have to be within our target ROAS or cost per acquisition or CPA range. And so let's say that $100 is kill switch number 1. I have to have a purchase by $100, but let's say something gets a purchase, but it's not quite profitable. We need to let it spend deeper and continue optimizing before flipping kill switch number 2, which might be 3 times number 1 or 4 times number 1. So kill switch number 2 might be $300 or $400. By this point, we would want our results to be in target KPI range. So we want the ROAS of the CPA to be above our break even, or at least in the zone or close to the zone that we want it to be. And so this is going to allow us to just not overreact. It's going to remove our emotion. It's going to allow us to systematically trim fat throughout the weekend as time goes on without your emotion getting involved. So if you're using an Advantage Plus shopping campaign structure, it simply means you're going to kill things on an ad level. If you're using a manual sales campaign structure, you're going to kill things probably on an ad set level, maybe ad level, depending on how you're structuring things. And then throughout each of the days, I recommend that you trim fat, meaning those ads, based on that criteria in predefined decision-making windows. So you will, usually there's morning, midday, and evening. Set a time. Maybe it's 7 a.m. in the morning, and then you check at noon, and then you check at 7 p.m. And what this means is you just add it to your calendar or add a little reminder, and then at 7 a.m. you log in and you say, hey, did any of my ads or ad sets flip a kill switch? Did they spend $100 without a purchase? If so, turn it off so it'll redistribute budget to the other ad sets or the other campaigns. Again, a lot of this is dependent on the structure that you're doing. And so at 7 a.m., 12 p.m., 7 p.m., you log in, you look at your kill switches and you say, hey, what fat do I need to trim? So that as the week progresses, by the time you get to Monday, you should have trimmed all of the fat, all of the dead weight, the ads that aren't performing to the products that aren't really driving the sales. And you should be sitting on those final products, final ads that are really carrying the team. And just a couple of additional things regarding budgets. Make sure, check your cards, check your payment methods. Always have a backup. If this has happened to us before, where we actually hit a spend threshold on one of our credit cards and we didn't realize it, and we hit the spend threshold and then it just stopped, and we're like, holy crap, we didn't have a backup card attached to it. So make sure that you have a backup card, first of all, and then second of all, get limit increases on your credit cards or line of credit, whatever that is, if you believe that you're going to need it. And then finally, size assets for the different relevant placements. So if I'm launching 10 products with 10 different ads, I'm going to have the square, the vertical, and the horizontal versions of each one of those that I upload to each one of those ads, so that way it doesn't restrict delivery on any of the placements that Meta might do. So that is the budgetary side of things. Now let's talk about campaigns a little bit. We are right now very bullish on Advantage Plus shopping campaigns with high retargeting percentage for this weekend. We've loved Advantage Plus shopping campaigns for about 2 years now. They've performed incredibly well. And yes, they work at scale. Like you can spend a lot of money on them and they do just fine. They dipped a little earlier this year and they are back and on fire right now. We're seeing them crush it. But what we're going to do here is we're really bullish on doing them during these 4 days with a high existing customer budget cap percentage. In other words, a high retargeting percentage. And what we love about ASC is that or Advantage Plus shopping campaigns is that they are consolidated and you have some control. And that's what we want during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So it means that like we are going to be able to have just a campaign with only the ads, and then we could run the kill switches on the ad level there pretty easily. If, however, you're running manual sales campaigns, you want to exercise the same degree of isolated control that an Advantage Plus shopping campaign might have. And so when we say control, what this means is, in consolidated control, is we prefer less campaigns because the more you have, the more competition there is, and it's a lot more work, and they don't do as well as if you consolidate your spend into 1 or 2 campaigns for this weekend. And in doing that, because we want control, it also means that we are not going to be using flexible ads or dynamic creative ads because they take too long to optimize. We generally see flex ads or dynamic creative ads if you still have that in your account. It takes a couple weeks to really dial in all of the variations. And so instead, we recommend running single ads with 1 creative, 1 headline, 1 primary text, so that way you can make decisions on a dime and really quickly within your predetermined decision-making windows. From a campaign standpoint, if you're running Advantage Plus shopping campaigns, we recommend setting your existing customer budget cap to 20 to 30% so that that kind of covers your retargeting, and then you don't need to don't do a retargeting campaign. If, however, you're running a manual sales campaign where you have the campaign and you have the ad set levels within that, we would encourage you to not exclude your warm and hot audiences. Maybe you exclude your purchasers or your existing website visitors or email list or all customers from your email database. We recommend you don't do that so that way all of your campaigns are hitting both cold and they're hitting both warm, just like an Advantage Plus shopping campaign would. And it's okay. People are going to get saturated as heck from your ads in doing either of these recommendations. That is okay. You're going to get repurchases from it. And if you don't get repurchases and you have good business and good product and good experience, you're likely going to get a ton of social proof, which is going to help the conversion to all of the cold people. And then just 2 more things about campaigns is get early approval. So don't go submitting your campaigns to get approved on Thanksgiving morning, the day before. Submit earlier in the week so that way it's approved and you're not trying to hope and fingers crossed, hope that Facebook reviews and approves your ads for that Friday. And lastly, on the campaign side of things, ignore learning statuses because there's not a lot of time for any kind of learning to happen. The only status you should really care about is rejected. And so if there's a rejected status, make sure you fix it because something was wrong and you violated a rule or something was set incorrectly. But as far as learning statuses and active and goes, it's not going to have a whole lot of time, so don't fret or worry about that. Now let's talk about targeting. This is the last thing we'll talk about here. Targeting. For targeting, you typically are looking at, most people, there's this debate, do we go broad, hey, or open is another word to say it, with no interest or no lookalikes, or do we select interests and lookalikes? There are usually 2 sides of this. Interests carried the boats for so many years until iOS 14, and then Meta has gotten really good at allowing you to not select any targeting and just go find the right customers. But our recommendation is to use what works for you right now. I will say this, interests are on the rise again. We're seeing performance and interests kick back in. But if you're going to use interest, my advice would be to stack them. So it gets a little bit larger size-wise. Lookalikes, however, jury's still out. I'm not sold on lookalikes yet. I have seen interest starting to pop up and do well in different accounts, but broad is still our go-to. So if you're going to, I would not test something new that you haven't done yet during Super Bowl time. Like, let's do what works. If broad works, just keep broad. If interest works, just keep that. If you're one of the people I've never met before that lookalikes work for right now, just use lookalikes. It is important to know that from a targeting standpoint, if you do go broad, just remember, like, Meta takes the context of your ads to help with targeting. So if you're going like broad or open, it's going to take the context of the creative and the copy and the landing page to find the right person. And so in your ad creation, it's not a bad idea to consider different ideal customer profiles who might buy from you. Because remember, there is first-party behavior happening where they're buying it for themselves. And then there's also a lot of second-party behavior where they're buying it for somebody else. And so if you create ads for both, Meta does a pretty good job of determining what their intent is and for what products. And so consider the different ideal customer profiles you might have. And let's say you have a product, you don't have a suite of products, but rather you are a one product business. For you, those 10 to 15 ads should all be diverse angles, potentially speaking to different types of customers. And so Meta's going to take that and it's going to then be able to go and find those people. Next, I would expand your retargeting custom audience windows. So for example, instead of having a 30-day list of your website visitors or purchasers, bump that to a 90 to a 180-day window of time. Like, open up the windows so that way, if you're running retargeting campaigns, whether in Advantage Plus Shopping or you're doing an actual retargeting campaign on your own, then bump those windows so that way there's just more people in it for your ads to go back to and resurface people that maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago were engaged with you, bought something, visited the website, and then they lost the link. Like, we're going to open up our existing or our custom audience windows for our retargeting purchases. And if you're running Advantage Plus Shopping campaign, that existing budget or customer budget cap that you set, is then going to go to those people. So we want to open it up so that way we're hitting those people and it's helping produce a ton more profit that has just been sitting in limbo for a while. And then finally, don't put restrictions on gender, because boyfriends, girlfriends, grandma, grandpa, mom, dad are going to be buying for different people, and only add age exclusions if you largely only sell to a certain segment. Like, a lot of times we get in our heads about like, hey, only people from 35 to 42 are going to buy from us, but it's just simply not true. You have like an informed bias from before because there was an event, but the reality is Meta has a pretty good grasp on who your customers are, and we're going to really encourage you, unless there is like a group that, hey, we cannot sell to this demographic. In that case, then we might exclude an age range, but for the most part, we're not going to exclude it. Meta will know it has enough knowledge or enough data to go after the people that it is for, and you'll just notice a shift in that age range from like a spend standpoint if you were to look at breakdowns. Whew, well, this was a lot. I've not actually unloaded this much in a podcast in a little while, but I think it's necessary, and because our goal is to help as many e-commerce business owners on the planet really grow, and so I hope this is really helpful to you. If you want to build out your Black Friday Cyber Monday plan, as well as get all of our email, ad, social media templates, all the details, get the visuals, have me walk you through this process with the workbook, with all of the good stuff, here in a couple of days on November 7th, this Thursday, we are doing the session. So there's a link in the description. Check it out. It's $95. It's worth $95. I promise we'll deliver on that. And so check the link. Have a great Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and God bless.